Fitting room. Hey, could I ask for one favor? Before my breath runs out like this, could you end it for me? If my power fades, I'll return to my original form. Even if I die, I want to look as least ugly as possible. I don't plan on killing you right now. The other yokai that have crossed over, and the method of their crossing. There's a lot of testimony you need to provide. It would have been better if the reason for keeping me alive had been different. I wonder if it's too much to hope. So, what does entertaining the guests mean? Who is coming from where? It was revealed that there are several yokai from the mainland among the yokai that crossed over. Even in the mainland of the yokai realm, they are aware of this fact and have sent help, taking their own responsibilities. It doesn't seem like a bad story, does it? If they have a certain level of skill, I'd like to meet them too. I'm also curious about their level. Perhaps because of their dignity, they sent a helper with an excessively high reputation from the mainland. Dealing with them was a bit difficult. Their attitude was somewhat nonchalant, I should say. Reputation, huh? If you say that, does that mean they sent an elder who has been dormant for 1,000 years or something? No, not them. They said it's a direct descendant who inherited the bloodline. Whose descendant? Why are they here? Great Sage Heaven's equal, they said she's the granddaughter of Sun Wukong. The attack just now wasn't directed at me. Does that mean they're not enemies? I'm Choi Saiwoo. Acting on the orders from the promising judge, I'm hunting down the foreign yokai. If it's not too much trouble. I don't care who you are, impure spirit. The intonation, this person, could they not be a yokai from the Korean peninsula? The one behind you is a sinner deserving of death. I might let it pass once, for whatever reason you're here. But there won't be a second time. If you don't want to die together, avoid it. I thought it would be enough. You are much tougher than it looks. The boy sensed, if it were me 30 minutes ago, I would have been killed instantly. The flow of shock was executed perfectly beyond compare. However, for the still quite young stem and roots of the tree named Choi Saiwoo, it was an excessively harsh impact to bear. Can I block it, the second time around? No, probably. Are both of your legs still moving? Well, it doesn't matter. Even if you dodge now, this time I'm definitely going to kill you. Dashing wind of striking God. Something seemed strange, so I came down to take a look, and this is just ridiculous. Hey, who are you? Did you come all the way from China pretending to be helpful? Instead of catching the ones they told you to catch right after arriving, you're picking a fight with some easy yokai. Don't just stand there with a face that clearly doesn't like the world, and at least give me some excuses, will you? If you don't want to die. Choi Saiwoo, are you okay? Yes. I don't seem to be seriously hurt. It looks like that. What happened with that thing? Why all this chaos? Well, never mind. It's probably just something you wouldn't believe even if you heard it. The real reason for causing this chaos is probably something else. The real reason? Isn't it obvious? Everywhere you go, you were quite a distinguished person. You might not understand that, though. Regardless of how long you'll be here, you don't want to do things just as they tell you to. Are you trying to make an example by capturing US or something? Originally, heading to the peninsula wasn't my cup of tea, but now that I'm here, it's much more irritating than I thought. There's not a single one that understands the topic properly. How are you supposed to endure and work with these kinds of things? They're doing some messing around over there. Seems like you can roughly get by with half-baked measures in that neighborhood. No need to endure, so why don't you tell me where it is? Let me teach them what my topic is all about. Excuse me, stop. Sealwa, what are you doing right now? Didn't I clearly tell you? She's a guest, a guest. If a conflict arises, you should mediate. Do you have any intention of pulling out your nails and fighting as a side dish? If this problem escalates, are you going to take responsibility? Can you even take responsibility? It's the same for you, Xiao Huai. Weren't you sent as reinforcements to help us? Whatever happened between you and that boy, it seems you were the one to wield magic first. Even if that boy acted rudely, a fight between unaffiliated yokai, without the intervention of a magistrate, is a clear violation. Regardless of the laws of the Central Court, this is an absolute rule issued by the Yokai King for all yokai. As a representative conveying the voice and intention of the magistrate, I cannot ignore such recklessness. If you don't withdraw from here, I will carry out what needs to be done. I will immediately summon you to the Central Court and formally report the reasons. Surprising, isn't it? Well, even if it's an errand runner, not anyone can be the magistrate's errand runner. She's a candidate who claims she'll pick up celestial bodies to eat. However, those individuals couldn't even last a single day before running away. Among those she must convey the chief's words to, there are monstrous creatures as numerous as stars in the sky. While delivering unpleasant messages to such beings, instead of being intimidated, she must stand tall. Even if it may seem overly indulgent to the weak and pitiful, on the contrary, even if faced with overwhelming strength, if she believes it's unjust, she must never yield. Humph, fine, I understand. It's true that I've lost some self-control as well. There's no worth in fixing a thick-headed skull just for the sake of giving an excuse. Make it clear, I came here to punish sinners. I have no intention of associating with or adopting your methods. As long as it's your land, I'll show the minimum respect, but it's best for you to be cautious not to interfere with me. Especially that fox woman, she better keep it in mind. What? Hey, you just barely escaped with your dear life. Anyway, somehow, the extermination seems to be a success. We've captured at least one. Saiwu, you really worked hard. This place in Seoul is known for having a significant number of missing persons. Thanks to you, there won't be any humans dying here from tomorrow onwards. Are there many places like this in Seoul? If so, even if it's challenging, we need to at least block people's access. Don't worry. You're not the only ones going on the hunt tonight. Like Guiyu Appa, the yokai in the human world and also yokai like you, permitted to enter the human realm for this mission, are participating. Each has been assigned to a specific hunting area. Even if it's challenging, tonight, most intruders should have been captured. Were there others coming from the yokai realm besides us? Were there really that many useful ones in such a calm place? According to Grandpa, it's not direct cooperation, but they've reached an agreement regarding the zones. South of the Han River is managed by our yokai. The north is assigned to the male shamans for the purification mission. So, could it be? Seoul Yonggu Nam San. Well, why did you insist on doing it alone? For me, it's normal to follow along. If it's Dorianum's authority, you could have brought about 10 more female shaman assistants, couldn't you? I can handle it alone. We're already short-staffed for the extermination around here today. And, honestly, no matter how many come, they just make a fuss. I'd rather run around alone. I find it frustrating to direct everyone individually. The more reason to use this opportunity to get used to commanding. I consider it both the role and duty of a shaman. I never asked you to do anything like a shaman, did I? The old man forced me into a position I didn't want. If you want me to step down, I can step down anytime and become a shaman. As long as you don't give me orders left and right. Whether it's a shaman who doesn't want to boss around subordinates or a shaman who doesn't want interference, both are beyond repair, aren't they? By the way, the yokai lying down behind you is quite big. Is it of Ki class? Is that creature the leader of the group in Namsan? This? Well, it seems to be of Ki class, but not particularly the leader. Among the group, it seemed to have an average size. Residing deep in the mountains, it greatly enjoys the flesh of human females. Their habitat is Japan. A month ago, no, even compared to just a few days ago, there's a significant growth. No matter how lacking in practical experience, no one in the CSU department would have achieved such a feat. Even facing numerous objections, the reason the elder appointed you as a shaman must be because of this achievement. The genius who, for the first time in centuries, was born with a transcendent state, reaching the level of Zen. So, what's the next schedule? Meeting someone and reporting, is it the Minister of National Defense? No, it's the Chief of Police, so, the Commissioner. They're probably waiting for you now, so you should go right away. Right now? Can't I just sleep and go tomorrow, since it's just a report anyway? You're talking nonsense. Today, literally all of Seoul was turned upside down. We've done our best to minimize casualties and succeeded in extermination, so it's over. But it might not look the same to civilians. Even if we tried to control the media as much as possible beforehand, it's not an era where that's 100% effective, especially these days. Maybe it's fortunate to think that way. So, it's about making people believe that even if it's fake news. Sharing the situation makes even fake news more plausible, you know. Alright, I got it. It's going to be late at night, well, it's the weekend anyway. Oh, and you have to go to Incheon Airport by 7 in the morning. With me. In the morning? And what's this sudden talk about Incheon Airport? That's right. I just received the information from the elder a while ago. It seems that a request came from a quite famous Onmyoji family in Japan to send 2 individuals, and the elder accepted it. Have you ever heard of the Kira family? I only know a few anime related to Japan. But why me, of all people? Well, maybe to match the grade. The children of the current head coming from over there. I mean, they're candidates for the next head. Just looking at the airport doesn't make it feel real, but the taste of the air is definitely different, don't you think, sis? Come on, loosen up a bit. Anyway, it's our first overseas trip, right? I know it's hard to say. I hope it turns out to be a fun place, Korea. Hello, welcome, Korean friend. Isn't it a bit late for cramming with a translator now? Don't be noisy. But still, they're a guest, so I can't just keep babbling on and on. What on earth made your father accept the dispatch request? Working together with a shaman and an onmyoji, it's an unprecedented event. Strictly speaking, it's not entirely unheard of. Why is that, during the Japanese colonial period, right? Back then, under the auspices of the chosen government general, 2 onmyoji came through Busan port. There are records that they collaborated with Korean shamans and jointly performed an exorcism in Seoul and Busan respectively. So, what happened then? They somehow managed to capture the supernatural beings that caused the incident at the time, but there were some issues in the process. Overall, the atmosphere was far from harmonious, especially between those 2. It seems there were individuals who particularly didn't get along. It escalated to the point of fights where they seemed ready to kill each other, and the damage caused by trying to stop it on both sides was even greater than during the exorcism itself. It might have been expected, of course. Even if the working methods are different, our fundamental perspectives are somewhat distinct from theirs. Young master, be careful. They probably don't have such intentions on their side, but discord can arise unexpectedly. I don't know. If it feels off, I might just bail. Maybe that's the most desirable course of action. It's not the worst option. Ah, looks like those people. Since we sent the photos, they probably know our faces as well. I know this might sound impolite. I'll agree in advance. It's indeed a somewhat unsettling visual. Let's go calmly, stay calm. Nice to meet. Hello. Thank you so much for coming to greet us like this. My name is Kira Yoshihiro. I'm 16, if you count in Korean age, then 17. Please take care of us during our stay. You're really good at Korean. Really? I've been studying it since middle school. That's fortunate. But my sister is even better at Korean than me. What are you doing? Nuna, you should greet them quickly too. Hello. I apologize. My sister isn't very good with social interactions. She's Kira Yuzuru. She's 2 years older than me. It's okay. That can happen. Indeed, judging solely based on appearances isn't advisable. The potential risk seems to be on their side. We've booked a hotel in downtown Seoul for accommodation. If there are any inconveniences with the location or environment, please feel free to let us know at any time. No, it's not. It was a sudden request, and just arranging this is already appreciated. Young master. Yeah. I know. However, if I may ask, could you provide more details about the purpose of their visit? I heard it's for dispatch and exchange, but I'm curious about which aspect they're focusing on. Are you here to assist in exorcising yokai? Or do you have more interest in sightseeing and cultural exchange? We need to know that precisely so that we can welcome you without any misunderstandings. It's somewhat direct, but it's better than beating around the bush. We've come to investigate a certain yokai that may have crossed over to Korea, and if possible, to exorcise that yokai. Hey. You know, there shouldn't be any problem, sis. Even father said, leave it to your discretion, and here, it's their territory, not like in Japan. Hiding information isn't the right thing to do, and, honestly, speaking openly and seeking cooperation would be better, I think. What does that certain yokai refer to? Crossing over here, it might be a dangerous yokai of the spirit class, it's not that. At least not yet. We call it tatarigami. Dark god, that's what it would be called in Korea, right? Right? Can you tell us what type of dark god it is? We don't know that yet. As I mentioned, we're not even sure if it has crossed over to Korea. However, based on the divination predicting the appearance of the Iadakshini, we only know the fact that it has already been born and is heading west across the sea. Well, we'll contact you in the evening. Please rest comfortably. What do you think? Think and rest. Cooperate as much as possible, we should report to father as well. If it's true, it's a big deal, but there's no bigger issue than this. What I mean is, you understand the implications. While exterminating the monsters last night, I thought. If there's a mastermind behind this, what could be the purpose? Each of them was an ordinary monster. They gained strength as man-eaters, but they didn't know how to use that power. If others are similar, it's just a matter of time before they're all annihilated. Apart from the question, why, it becomes a meaningless task, but if there was a different purpose from the start. Funneling low-level monsters in large numbers to make them underestimate the situation, that could be the goal. Certainly. I thought the massive purge last night almost concluded everything. However, if among the uncaught monsters there is a dark entity, the dark gods might be in the mix. It's not just Japanese monsters that have come over. China and Japan, and though on a smaller scale, various places in the identified areas. If one came from Japan, there's no guarantee that they won't come from other places. But that's too. Dark gods aren't such common entities. I think it's a bit excessive worry. But it's not entirely baseless. If dark gods from other regions come over and have gained a certain level of strength in the past month, that would be a different existence from the creatures last night. It might have already reached the level of spiritual entities. Perhaps someone, like those yin and yang masters, might have come from elsewhere to capture dark gods. Well, I hope it's all just my concern. Near Mount Moya, Seoul. This should be okay. It doesn't seem to be a mountain frequented by many people from the beginning. Well, even if a few passing humans see us, it doesn't matter. It's not like there are many humans who can't confront us directly like at the department store. And if the number of people we encounter in a place like this is manageable, we can control it neatly. Fortunately. Couldn't sleep a wink last night because of the 2 humans who died at the department store. I don't think it's your fault. If I had to say, it's probably because my spell was not as clean. It sounds like an excuse, but it was the first time I dealt with something so indirectly and extensively. Saying this may not make you feel better. Yeah, I brought you here to equip you with some skills. Similar to yesterday's incident, there will be countless situations like this for you in the future. Starting today, whenever I get a chance, I'm going to teach you acquired skills. It's also my original role, and you need to know it to properly fulfill your role as a yokai. Even if it's not as powerful as mine, having a basic purification skill is good. There are many spells like barriers, exorcisms, detection, and seals that can adapt to various situations. Pull yourself together and learn properly. And before that, hold on a moment. Be careful. Even if you are a goblin, don't get too distracted and waver due to surprise. Well, it's a perfect posture for you. Relax, let go of your strength. Just stay still. It'll be over soon. A fragrance of an unknown flower and the delicate scent of peaches subtly approached. A dizzying sensation I've never felt before, and a heart beating rapidly as if it had just sprinted at full power. The boy closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, the unfolded scene was a familiar sight. Don't worry. The actual unfolding scenery isn't real. This place is the depths of your mind, the innermost space of your consciousness. What you see, hear, and feel here are all based on the things stored in your memories. That's a relief. It wasn't that. You mean it's like a fantasy that doesn't really exist? Then what about Miss Silwa? No. Right now, what you're talking to is really me. I have a special trick for you. One of our unique spells, called Purple Whispers. Through sensory organs, it injects false stimuli into the brain. As a result, it can induce hallucinations or auditory illusions. It can make you forget what you've already seen, or manipulate simple actions, just as you know. Compared to that, this is a bit more advanced. It's not just about providing stimuli. By opening the mind path, we temporarily connected your and my thoughts. Simply put, it's like I briefly visited your mind as a guest. Normally, there wouldn't be a reason to go to such lengths, but the tests we'll see from now on, honestly, they're a bit interesting even for me. Against this guy, let's see how well you can fight. Wait a moment, no way. The familiar appearance might not be the case for you. It's your first time facing the actual thing. Well, it can't be said to be entirely the same as back then. Anyway, it's a reproduction based on the information in your memories. However, the memories of that guy I faced and the ones you experienced firsthand. Since I cross-verified our information, the reproduction accuracy should be quite high. Aren't you curious too? Which one of you is stronger, and by how much? By the way, I should mention that guy's yokai power amount should be the same as back then. Body on the brink of collapse due to yokai power depletion. I remember the embarrassingly small amount of yokai power vividly. Well, of course. Even without yokai power or the like, that guy was genuinely strong. What is this power? Surely he dispersed the impact by stepping on the ground. Was I really this powerful back then? Strength, speed, everything surpasses the yokai fought in the department store. And above all, it's not easy, is it? Like I said, you guys have the talent. If I were a yokai that used my body directly, it might have been even more challenging. An unreasonable level of combat sense. Even if I gained the upper hand in battles so far with just that sense alone, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. But that's only when the opponent's level is low. Talented as your sense might be, facing an opponent who surpasses you in certain aspects. How would you overcome it? Why? Even though I poured all my power into it, there was no significant damage, not even a flinch. No matter how I think about it, it's strange. If I really don't have the yokai power I had back then why? Oh. All the techniques I've used in fights up until now were influenced by that guy. Even when I first pulled out the bat, I could change its form because of the influence of his memory. In other words, what he could do, I could do too. Ground manipulation, right? The ability to reduce impact and draw out power by manipulating the ground, he's much better at it than me. To the extent of overcoming the difference in yokai power. I might not be able to close that gap right away. Well, if there's a way, let's give it a try. If you can use ground stepping without touching the ground. Sealwa. I did it. It was incredibly strong, but, since it was me, it was easy to identify the weaknesses. Yeah, you did great. Both of you have to admit it. Both, what do you mean? Yeah, take a look. At least, you recognized him as an opponent worthy of bringing out your bat. Well. Even if you didn't think it was worth pulling out before. It's a scam. Well, good job. I thought you'd be more thoroughly beaten, but you put up a decent fight. Winning was never really an option. Even if it wasn't a tight match, that creature was the one who could summon up to 5 tails from the start. If the more tails Ms. Sealwa has, the tougher the opponent. How many tails do I have? Hard to say. 2 might be a bit lacking in firepower. If it gets tight, it can manage 3 tails. If there's a need to finish quickly without time, I can go up to 4 tails. By the way, to tell you the truth, each time I summon a tail, the power output increases by 1.5 times. The difference between 3 and 5 is 1.5 squared. More than 2 times. Still, for most leftover creatures, handling them can be managed with just 1 tail. You over there. Like a sneaky little mouse watching from the shadows. I am sorry. I was afraid I might be in the way. I swear I haven't harbored any hostile intentions while observing. Please consider that. Ha. Hongyan. What? You know each other? Yes, she's from the House of Cultivating Humility. Last time, I made a contract with our leader, and with the advance payment from that contract. I'm here to transport the items our leader prepared. The top-quality yokai treasures, the clothes that Master Saiwu will wear. A day ago simply calling it an investment might feel vague to you, right? There's nothing difficult. It's about helping you, our guest, become the victor in the arena as much as possible. Providing material support as a basic, of course. I will also show very special items that aren't even known to other guests. In addition, you can enjoy various conveniences such as the provision of all kinds of information that comes to us. Just listening makes it look very good. Isn't investment something done when there's a calculation to receive more than what is given? If I were to become the yokai king, what would you want from me? Seems important. Then, shall I be more straightforward? What we want from you is. For now, we truly want nothing at all. Of course, as you pointed out, you can't really call it an investment. For the time being, that's what I mean to say. Let's be honest, as mentioned earlier, the potential candidates for the battle who receive investments from our shop are not just you. And it's not just our 2 parties that are investing in candidates. It's only natural. The Yokai King is a being who will rule the world's underworld for the next 666 years. No matter what monster takes that position, depending on the relationship with them, not only the individual but also the relationships of the tribe may change. Honey, those who are not strong enough to dream of becoming the Yokai King at least want to become beloved followers. Even if it's a bit of a stretch, we try to select the most promising candidates. We're sowing the seeds for the future. Certainly, now that I've heard it, it's less burdensome for me. Are there no yokai who are dissatisfied with that approach? Like, why aren't you sponsoring them, or why are you sponsoring that one? Well, of course, there are. There's nothing particularly problematic. Such dissatisfactions are mostly resolved naturally. For example, the youngest of the Shiji family, who had disputes with you, was also originally scheduled to receive our investment. The potential and latent power in the blood of the divine beasts, we deemed it worthy enough to pay the cost. One guest directly informed us. He stated that he is not qualified to receive the investment. Moreover, he asserted that you are a yokai worthy of receiving the investment instead. That's how it is. If you want to receive investment or more investment, you just need to prove yourself. If you don't qualify or if you dislike hostile yokai receiving investment, simply defeat and crush them. As the competition progresses, those without qualifications are bound to be eliminated. What remains are individuals getting closer to becoming the yokai king. When that moment comes for you, we will discuss the conditions of the investment at that time. Of course, whether to continue our relationship after hearing that is entirely up to you. Until then, please consider it purely as a casual favor. Wow. It's really amazing. Even though I put it on directly over my clothes, it feels so comfortable. The fit feels perfect too. Well, that's the characteristic of clothes made with elf silk. It's not like taking them out one by one, it's more like calling them whenever you need, like a storage space. Are there specific commands set? Yes, in a state where you've made the hand seal like this, when you want to wear it, you say, put on, and when you want to take it off, you say, take off. So, take off. Whoa. Take off. Put on. Take off. Put on. Aren't you way too jolly? That person is the rumored Gumiho, nine-tailed fox. Despite numerous offers from our House of Cultivating Humility as well as other factions, she's a genius who refused them all with a firm, I won't owe anything to those tiny creatures. Huh? What's your deal? If you've given everything, then you should just back off. Why linger around? Are you conducting an investigation? Oh, no please, do you have more to say to us? What did the Lord say? Last night, remnants that survived without being hunted, we know the location of one of those groups. The Lord would like to inform you, Mr. Choi Saiwoo, of that location and suggested assisting in clearing out those beings. Wait a moment. I can understand telling him, but how do you guys know about it? It's better to give a straight answer. Mr. Saiwoo remembers Mr. Yuzium from yesterday. Yuzium, you mean Shiji? Yes. Last night, Mr. Yuzium also participated in the hunt and was stationed at the outskirts of Seoul with two other beings. Oh, they didn't get hurt too badly, did they? Was it Yuzium who reported the location of those remnants? Something feels uneasy about this. Rather than receiving a report. Last night, Mr. Yuzium and the two beings stationed with him were killed by the targeted beings they were hunting. Mr. Yuzium managed to escape alone. Wait, there were beings that failed in subjugation. I haven't heard such a story. We only grasped the situation this morning. Mr. Yuzium visited our House of Cultivating Humility late last night. Despite his injuries, he was in a state of panic, so we brought him inside to help him find stability. However, he still hasn't been able to shake off the trauma. He keeps repeating fragmentary testimonies about last night's events. The fear towards the adversary and the guilt and shame of failing the mission. The shock from both incidents seems substantial. His future must seem bleak. It's not like he lost in a fight, he just miserably fled alone, the whole clan got humiliated. If it were me, I might as well have died there. He probably already knows or will know soon. Still, there probably won't be any specific actions for a while, right? The events of last night consumed us more than expected. We failed to hunt in one area. The plan might be to bundle them with the other remnants from other regions and deal with them later. First, I think I need to check on things. It seems like Salmi is struggling with the aftermath problem. She's still a bit inexperienced with acquired skills. Well, if it bothers you, just go check on her once, okay? Is that really okay? Well, naturally, Master Mengti would probably say not to tell Salmi or Salmi's dad. But that's my perspective. Right now, you don't necessarily need permission given the situation where you can find out the location of that yokai, right? Anyway, if you safely capture it and report back, you probably won't get into big trouble. Most importantly, aren't you extremely concerned right now? If you capture even one earlier, at least a few humans will be saved, right? If I were you, I'd go. So, I can't really stop you. If I have any advice, if you meet the opponent, scrutinize their type. If you're a type that focuses on the physical, you should have a good chance, but if they're skilled in magic, always be prepared for them to escape and fight accordingly. Whatever you decide, it's up to you. You'll keep that in mind, right? Please tell me all of the pieces of information you got from Yuzium. Wait, Where are you going, sis? Where am I going? Obviously, gonna go and have a sightseeing. Did you come all the way here just to stay stuck in the hotel? Not really, but, you know what I mean. I'm asking if you're really just planning to sightsee. I mentioned it earlier, right? We're guests, this isn't Japan. There are rules and customs unique to this place. You saw them earlier, right, sis? They didn't seem inclined to help even if we cooperate properly. What about you? How do you see me? Do you think I'm going to boldly go out and hunt yokais? In someone else's territory where I don't even know the way? You, pretending to be a temporary leader, don't act like you're not suited for it. Instead of holding unnecessary weight, focus on doing your own job properly. Who was it that caused trouble with the Sumida family the other day? I'll be back before evening, so if you're really worried, contact me or something. Even if I contact you, you won't answer anyway. Who knows how long I'll be in this place? I don't need to actively intervene. If the yokai side wants to find me, so be it. I need a great fortune, can you draw one for me? Kira Yuzuru is a Shikigami shaman, an individual who manipulates various spiritually endowed beings. It's possible. Considering the amount you've gathered so far, 7 lucky children enhance the luck of the day as desired by the shaman by storing the energy in usual fortune of the 7 lucky children. There are 7 types of luck: wealth, health, love, business, academics, family, and social. The shaman cannot determine the type of luck to draw, but, thank you. The 7 lucky children automatically provide the luck they believe is most needed for the current shaman. It's a shame to use such a good fortune, but with this, I can capture the yokai without much trouble and be done. Good fortune, love. What is this? A miraculous day where you encounter the destined connection you've been dreaming of. The process might be a bit intense. The color of luck is black. What the heck is this nonsense? Is this really what I need the most in this situation? Even if something goes wrong, I need something solid. Sir, I think you might be in the wrong place. Is this the correct address? Ah, it's okay. You might be right. I'll just walk, it seems close anyway. Seriously. If I knew it would be like this, I should have just taken the bus. Seoul-Han River Park. Looks like fun. I thought you hated humans. Oh, you're here, Chien. How long have you been here? Not long, just a few minutes. I was enjoying myself, wondering if it would be a bother, so I left you alone. Your unexpected appearance is quite fascinating. Unexpected, isn't it? I consider disliking something and watching it as separate issues. Most humans may detest bugs, but when observing from a distance, they tend to watch with quite a deep interest. It's similar, you know. It's interesting, watching it wriggle like that from time to time. Even if it doesn't resonate much. Chien, you're still young. You haven't even celebrated a second birthday, right? Given how fast you learn, it won't take long for you to understand what I mean. Certainly, there's something you realize only after it's over. The 3 from the Bailon family, they're all dead, right? Well, for the top 2, Rei and Bailon, they must have died. The opponent was excessively formidable. The youngest, Weiran, might still be alive, but we should consider him already dead. Since he was captured alive, he'll probably do anything to extract information about us. Of course, nothing substantial will come out. Last night, I regretted it all night long. Until Rei rejected the proposal, everything seemed fine. But as I left the department store alone, the more time passed, the more it felt real. How did I see those 3? And what have I done? Quite foolish, isn't it? Spending a year with them and only realizing it now. The three of them. I should have eaten them. It's frustrating. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. I devoured whatever came my way throughout the night. What's happening all of a sudden? My hunger still persists. How many did you eat? I didn't bother to count, but the building we spent time with those three is no longer needed. I devoured everything inside. Is it really okay? Well, whether it's okay or not, I said no more playing it safe. After midnight yesterday, you are free to do whatever. Wherever you go and whatever consequences follow, I won't stop or hinder you. I never had the right to do so. So go ahead and do whatever you want. That's all I ask from each of you 7. All residents in the apartment complex missing. The news might come out around lunchtime. That aside. How do you know if Ray and Bylon had a tough opponent or if only Wayran survived? Were you there by any chance? Oh, yeah. I was there at that time too. It's not like I had any business with you or the Ray siblings. It was more of a coincidence. I had been keeping an eye on things, and I happened to be in the vicinity. It's nothing special. At least, not yet. What on earth is that thing? The aura he gives off, as if he has no intention of hiding. Even if he's not a yokai breaking the law, considering the recent atmosphere in this country, it's an incredibly foolish act. There are probably 2 things to consider. Either the person is being controlled by the magic of a supernatural being, or they simply lack control over their own aura. A yokai intentionally feigning incompetence to lure someone. Chasing adornment sword, that dagger was used by Master Yuzium. When imbued with aura and thrust into a target, the blade that penetrated can detach, allowing the one holding the hilt to track the impaled target even from a distance. The remaining part of this blade is embedded in the supernatural being that Yuzium was chasing, right? Is there any limitation, like the duration the blade persists? The effective range is approximately 1,000 kilometers. The effect will persist as long as it stays within that range, or until the target removes the blade, but there's a condition for that. Extracting it with a stronger aura than the one infused when stabbed. That's the condition for removing the blade. When the blade is removed, a new one grows from the broken part on the hilt. The opponent is someone who could suppress Yuzium, and not only him but also 2 other yokais. Despite having the power to subdue Yuzium and others, the fact that some parts of the chasing adornment sword's blade are intentionally left broken. There's only one possible explanation: they are deliberately not extracting the blade. What's going on? The blood stuck in Tao's arm. Is it okay if you leave it like that? It's fine, it's not a big wound. I need to keep this in place because new ones will come. I was going to mention it anyway. What's the deal, Tao? You want to keep attracting those who want to hunt us? So, what's the gain in doing that? If the pursuit continues, we might be able to keep feeding on humans like we do now, right? I was about to say that. From now on, I won't consume humans anymore. What are you talking about? If you don't consume humans, then what will you do? Of course, they're delicious. The more you eat, the better it feels, and you get stronger. But for some reason, even though I kept eating, it never felt like my hunger was satisfied. I've been pondering the reason, but a clear answer never came. However, it started to make sense last night. Those 3 we fought last night were truly formidable. If it were me from before coming here, I probably would have perished against all 3. The last one put up a bit of a fight towards the end. Anyway, after defeating them, that's when I felt it. Seriously, my stomach was incredibly full. The one who brought me here probably knows what I'm talking about. Clearly, I was born to experience that feeling. I want to hunt beings that are worth defeating, not just for the taste. Since it's a sensation humans can't feel, I don't think I need to eat them. It sounds absurd. I'm losing interest, Tao. I can't understand it, and I don't want to. It's an opportunity one gained, and I don't want to die entangled in your caprice. Well, that could be the case. It's just my greed, and your perspective might be different. So, is this the end between us? It's a shame, but, perhaps this is for the best. Wait a moment, if this guy isn't going to eat humans, then maybe. Live well. To Huifeng, and to Zen over there. Even though it was a short time, I learned a lot from things I didn't know. If not for that, I would have died earlier. It would have been nice to continue together, but, you're right. I think it's much better for you if I go my separate way from now on. I'm sorry. And thank you. You brat. Hey, Zen. If you heard, move quickly. We're leaving here before nightfall. Why are you dawdling? I want to be with Tao, what? The reason we survived last night was because Tao fought for us, right? And I also. I want to become strong like Tao, so. I want to fight, not against humans. What the hell are you talking about? Even if you don't know the details, haven't you forgotten what you and I originally were? Our body metamorphosis is different from that guy. He's like a filthy copycat. I just said it, but it's dangerous to be with me. Especially you, Zen, the likelihood of you dying is much higher. As long as you're with me, I'll make one promise. If you die, absolutely, do not die before me. Tao. I really can't stand this. Leave the foolish acts to the two of you. Oh, and both of you, don't eat humans, right? If that's the case, then the ones downstairs I'll finish them off before we leave, and there shouldn't be any complaints. Yeah. It's better to eat as much as possible before nightfall. Right. Like all other nocturnal creatures. This yokai also has existed from very distant times, spanning countless eras. Tao. Are you okay? The ominous name it bears varies depending on the era and region in which it appears. Yeah, I'm okay, Zen. I was just a bit surprised, that's all. However, in any era, its essence remains the same. An insatiable desire for endless conflict. I knew you would come, at least, I thought you would be after sunset. That was the era when it was most rampant. Yokai and humans collectively referred to it by that name. I should prepare to welcome the guest, Zen. Chi-Yu, violence that devours the world. It's intimidating to step into the building. Two different sensations assail from two directions. The aura sensed from above and the bloody stench felt from below. In this chilling dilemma of quantum choice, the boy makes his decision. What this absurd eeriness. Unless there's a special history to the building, this is a dining place for monsters. There's no way he wouldn't sense it. Without a hint of hesitation, he walked in so naturally.